Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bold and Beautiful today.
Will Sheila support Luna or work against her? Finding out what Will did to Luna, Sheila. Does Luna Nozawa ultimately turn to her grandma for assistance when she flees after discovering she was set up by Will Spencer? Is that how Sheila Carter finds out about Luna's fate? All Spencer men are the same, Sheila informs Deacon Sharp. She did fall for Dollar Bill Spencer's antics, after all, when he was merely attempting to trap her in the same manner. Sheila must now choose whether or not to assist Luna, who is now in the same situation. She advised Luna to simply leave town and stop becoming involved in Will and John Finnegan's affairs. She was unable to comply with her orders to leave Steffi Forrester Finnegan alone. Sheila is upset about this, but she feels compelled to assist a girl in need because Luna is her granddaughter. But Luna is doing more harm than Sheila can possibly fathom. Is Luna going to follow through on her plan and pursue Hayes? Ridge's turning point. There's never a better moment for Ridge Forrester to tell Brooke Logan about his engagement to Taylor Hayes than now. He might as well finish it. The problem is that Nick Marone couldn't wait to share with Brooke what he had heard at Il Giardino, so Brooke already knew. Brooke has had a chance to process this new knowledge. She was devastated to hear it, but in order to keep her ego from being too damaged, she got up and let Nick to compliment her. By the time Ridge reaches her, where will she be? Will she remain strong, or will she make a fool of herself once more by pleading with Ridge to end his relationship with Taylor and return home to her? Perhaps she should open herself up to a man who wants her and only her. When Luna Nozawa found herself spiraling in a nightmare of betrayal, lies, and danger, the last person she thought she would run to for help was Sheila Carter. But sometimes, blood calls to blood, and desperation blurs all lines of reason. Everything unraveled the night Luna discovered Will Spencer had been manipulating her from the very beginning. What began as a whirlwind romance quickly turned into a treacherous trap when Luna uncovered a hidden file on Will's laptop, one that contained surveillance photos of her, detailed notes on her movements, and transcriptions of private conversations she had believed were safe. It was then Luna realized that Will hadn't fallen for her, he'd been setting her up, and for reasons she couldn't yet fully grasp. Luna had always known that being involved with a Spencer man came with risks. Sheila Carter herself had warned her of that repeatedly, but the scale of the deception still rocked her to the core. And so, under the cover of darkness, Luna fled, leaving behind nothing but a cryptic message for her mother, Lee Finnegan, and a pair of earrings Will had once gifted her, left shattered on the floor like her heart. She had no idea where else to go, so she did the unthinkable, she went to Sheila. Sheila Carter had spent years trying to claw her way back into the good graces of her estranged family, especially her son, John Finnegan. Her relationship with Luna had always been strained, built on tenuous threads of shared blood and fragile truces, but when Luna appeared at her door, pale and trembling, with eyes haunted by betrayal, something inside Sheila shifted. She remembered being that girl once, naive, idealistic, and blindsided by a Spencer man. It brought back memories of her time with Dollar Bill Spencer, the smooth words, the empty promises, the illusion of being loved when she was merely being used. The rage still simmered beneath the surface, and seeing Luna in such a state made Sheila feel something unexpected, protective. But Deacon Sharp was wary. "Don't get involved," he warned as Sheila paced their living room, her mind spinning with fury and strategy. "This girl could drag you back into that mess with the Forresters, with the Spencers, with Finn. You've worked too hard to stay clean." But Sheila's mind was made up. "All Spencer men are the same," she muttered bitterly. "First Bill, now his son. They don't fall in love, they trap. They play games. I won't let Luna be another pawn in their sick little legacy." Still, part of her wondered whether helping Luna would truly bring peace, or chaos. Luna, however, wasn't telling the whole truth. What Sheila didn't know was that Luna's involvement with Will hadn't been entirely innocent. She hadn't just fallen into his trap, she had been setting her own as well. Luna had discovered that Will had been keeping tabs on her, yes, but she'd also found something even more disturbing. He'd been watching Hayes, Sheila's grandson. A file labeled Project Custody contained disturbing notes, suggesting Will was working with a powerful legal firm to undermine Finn and Steffi's custody of their son. Luna's horror only deepened when she saw a forged custody affidavit with her signature on it. She had never signed it. She had never agreed to be part of that. Someone had forged her involvement to make it look like she supported a bid to take Hayes away from Finn and Steffi. That's when Luna realized she had to choose sides. She could run and hide, or she could go to Sheila, the only person with enough venom and firepower to fight back. But Luna was hiding something darker. While she didn't want to hurt Hayes, she did have an ulterior motive. She blamed Steffi for everything, for her strained relationship with her mother, for pushing her away from Finn, and for poisoning everyone against her. Luna had dreams once, of family, of love, of being part of something bigger than herself, but those dreams had turned into nightmares. And as she stood in Sheila's house, drinking tea laced with bittersweet secrets, she started to put a new plan in motion. If she couldn't have love, she would take power. And if she couldn't have a family, she would take theirs. Sheila, unaware of Luna's true intentions, tried to help. She warned Luna once again, leave town. Don't go near Will. Don't go near Finn. Don't even think about Steffi. They'll chew you up and spit you out. But Luna didn't listen. She slipped out that night, and the next morning, Steffi's security cameras caught a brief but chilling image of Luna, wearing a hoodie, standing outside Hayes' preschool. Sheila was called in for questioning. Finn confronted her. Did you help her do this? Did you know what she was planning? But Sheila was genuinely shocked. She started to doubt everything. Had she been used? Had Luna played her the same way Sheila once played so many others? The tension thickened when Ridge Forrester learned about Luna's connection to Sheila and about Will's manipulations. Ridge had his own battles to fight. He was preparing to tell Brooke Logan about his engagement to Taylor Hayes. But fate had other plans. Brooke already knew. Nick Marone, ever the opportunist, had spotted Ridge and Taylor celebrating at Il Giardino and spilled every detail to Brooke, hoping to weasel his way back into her heart. Brooke, devastated but ever the queen of resilience, composed herself and took it on the chin. She let Nick flatter her, let him soothe her ego, but inside, her heart broke once again. She had believed Ridge might finally be ready to be hers alone, but he had chosen the past instead of their future. So when Ridge finally came to her, she didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just smiled, cool and distant, and said, I know. I've already heard. You made your choice. Meanwhile, Luna's plan escalated. She used the forged affidavit to contact a journalist, hoping to ignite a scandal that would put pressure on Finn and Steffi, and in turn, open a door for her to reclaim something she'd lost. But she didn't anticipate Sheila finding out. When Sheila saw the custody documents, her blood ran cold. You were using me, she whispered. You were never scared. You were just positioning yourself. Like a vulture. Luna tried to explain, but Sheila was already on the move. You don't go after a child. You don't go after my grandson. Sheila confronted Will, threatening him with everything from exposure to bodily harm. But Will had lawyers and spin doctors, and Sheila had a reputation that made her easy to dismiss. No one believed her. Except one. Brooke. When Brooke heard about what Will had done, not just to Luna, but to Hayes, she saw red. She remembered what it felt like to be a pawn in the Spencer game. She went to Steffi, showed her the affidavit, and demanded answers. Steffi was horrified. I don't know who did this, she said. But we need to find Luna. And so, the alliances shifted. Sheila, Brooke, and Steffi, three women who could barely stand to be in the same room, found themselves united by a single cause, stopping Luna. But Luna had disappeared. She'd gone underground, hiding in the last place anyone would think to look, Bill Spencer's private cabin in Aspen. She knew the layout. She knew the codes. Will had brought her there once, and she remembered every detail. From there, she began crafting a new identity, contacting shadowy allies, and plotting a new future, one in which she could rebuild her life, or at least destroy the ones who had tried to ruin hers. the story was far from over. Ridge, now dealing with the fallout of his own choices, turned to Taylor, unsure if they had a real future or just shared guilt. Finn, caught between loyalty to Steffi and confusion over Luna's breakdown, began to question everything he knew about his family and his mother. And Sheila? Sheila stood alone again, burned by another attempt at redemption, watching as the world spun out of control around her. But she wasn't done. Because deep down, Sheila Carter was still the woman who played the long game. She might have helped Luna once, but now, she was ready to bring her down. As Brooke coos in Nick's arms, Steffi watches in horror as Luna realizes Will is wired and pulls her gun. Ridge's engagement shocked Brooke, while Luna's preparations to ensure Steffi is never a problem again thrilled Finn. Nick informs Brooke at Forrester that Raj accepted Taylor's proposal. She finds this unbelievable. She was unaware that Ridge desired this. Brooke finds it unbelievable that Taylor was so desperate as to pop the question. The engagement is genuine, Nick reiterates. Brooke is unsure about where to search. He summarizes Ridge and Taylor's conversation since she needs more information to comprehend this. It surprises Brooke that Ridge didn't hide from her by crawling beneath the table. There isn't much to interpret, according to Nick. From St. Thomas, Taylor brought the ring. Brooke believes the engagement to be genuine. She appreciates it, even though Nick wasn't sure if he should tell her. All she hoped was that Ridge would awaken and realize she was standing up for him. For once, Nick advises her to stand up for herself. Ridge's bouncing behavior must be detrimental to her self-esteem. Is that the way she wants to live? She finds it too difficult to let go. While she's acting this way, Nick won't go. He wants to assist her in getting back on her feet. How she didn't see this coming is beyond her comprehension. With them, commitment never endures. Nick notes that Ridge is to blame for that. Taylor has another option, but it's likely that he will leave her and return to her. They relive their wedding. He holds her while she coos after they exchange glances. Ridge and Taylor are admiring her engagement ring at Eric's. Putting it back on was powerful, she says. He looks off into space after they sigh and kiss. She can't wait for what is ahead for them. They look forward to the future and discuss how much older they have gotten. Except for Brooke, everyone will be content. He is aware that Brooke will suffer a setback. Taylor is aware that her opponent was certain he would return to her. Ridge is certain that it will be difficult for her. They chat about RJ's disappointment. He will bless them in due time. Taylor thinks Brooke is about to lose it. She is not envious that he had to inform Brooke of this. I have to hear it from him, he says. Chief Bake, Finn, Elektra, and Steffi are on surveillance at the Cliff House, watching Luna converse with Will. Steffi exclaims that they have her when Luna tells Will that she intends to prevent Steffi from ever interfering in her life again. They order Baker to take her into custody. Until they come up with new ideas, he cannot. Luna has had enough of discussing Steffi. Will feels uneasy as she licks his neck. Luna snaps, asking him why he's actually there. She queries why he abruptly ended his relationship with Elektra. They were too different, he claims. Although Luna likes him and believes they would get along well, she won't be happy if he plays her. He keeps questioning her about Steffi, but why? They would be nude if he truly desired her. She assumes he's setting her up after noticing he's wired. Steffi is appalled. Baker requests assistance. Will is accused by Luna of conspiring with them to try to get her reincarcerated. He truly seemed different to her. He reminds her that no one wants her around and that she threatened Elektra. He thinks she shouldn't be on the streets and that she needs significant help. She pulls out her gun and calls him a letdown as he announces that she will be returning to prison. She will stop at nothing to avoid returning to prison. Anything. Steffi stood frozen, heart hammering against her ribs, as the monitor flickered before her eyes. The air in the room seemed to thicken as Luna leaned in toward Will, her lips almost brushing his ear, her eyes narrowing like a cat sensing a trap. "Why do you keep asking about Steffi?" Luna hissed, her voice sharp and coiled with suspicion. Steffi's stomach dropped, and her pulse spiked. Will's posture stiffened, just slightly, just enough for Luna to catch the telltale shift. Her eyes scanned him rapidly, landing on the barely visible bulge near his collar. "A wire. A goddamn wire." "You're setting me up," Luna breathed, her voice trembling with rage, betrayal burning through her like acid. In the Forrester surveillance room, Steffi's gasp echoed, and Chief Baker muttered an expletive, slamming his hand against the console. "She's onto him," Finn said under his breath, moving toward the screen, his jaw clenched. Beside him, Electra wrapped her arms around herself, eyes wide, as Luna pulled back, her expression cold and deadly. "You're working with them," Luna whispered, a tremor of disbelief in her voice before her expression hardened. "You're just like the rest. You lied to me. Just like everyone always does." Will swallowed hard, trying to hold her gaze. "Luna, listen," but his voice cracked. Luna's hand darted inside her jacket and emerged with a sleek, silver handgun, the light catching it like a warning beacon. "No!" Steffi shouted, lunging forward as though she could reach through the screen, her voice hoarse with panic. "Back up!" Baker barked into his radio, all business now, his jaw tight. "Go! Go! Go!" Agents in tactical gear scrambled from the van, but it already felt like they were too late. Inside the safe house, Will's hands rose instinctively, palms out. "Luna, you don't have to do this," he said, his voice low and steady, every inch of him screaming to stay calm even as her finger hovered over the trigger. "You said you wanted a future. We can fix this. You don't have to run." Luna's eyes welled with tears, tears of fury, of betrayal, of someone who had lost too much and trusted too little. "I'm not going back," she hissed. "I'm not disappearing again. Not for Steffi. Not for you. Not for anyone." The tension in the room twisted like a noose tightening. And back at the Forrester mansion, Brooke lay in Nick's arms on the sunroom couch, oblivious to the danger unfolding across town. Her face buried in his chest, she let out a shaky breath as Nick stroked her hair, murmuring soft reassurances. "You were always the one fighting, Brooke. Always the one holding the candle," he said, his voice a mix of tenderness and quiet frustration. "But Ridge? He's never stayed in one place long enough to deserve you." Brooke didn't answer. Her lips parted, but only a breath came out, a breath that trembled and disappeared into the soft cotton of his shirt. Nick tilted her face up, forcing her to look at him. "You deserve someone who doesn't need to be rescued. Someone who chooses you. Who stays." Brooke's eyes shimmered with unshed tears as her hand rose to his cheek. The memory of their wedding flooded her mind, his promise, her laughter, the fleeting peace that once lived between them. Her voice broke like glass when she whispered, "Do you still believe in us?" Nick's smile was soft, almost reverent. "I never stopped." They kissed, slow and searching, and she cooed softly, melting into him, even as her mind lingered on Ridge, on the betrayal, the pain, the shocking reality that he had accepted Taylor's proposal without even a word to her. Meanwhile, Ridge and Taylor lounged in Eric's living room, sipping champagne, the sparkle of Taylor's ring catching the sunlight pouring in through the tall windows. "It feels different this time," Taylor said, her voice dreamy, fingers stroking the edge of Ridge's jaw. "We're older. Wiser. We're done with the triangle, right?" Ridge hesitated. His eyes flicked to the window, distant. "Brooke didn't see it coming," he admitted. "I barely saw it coming myself." Taylor's brow furrowed slightly. "Are you second-guessing already?" she asked, her tone light but her eyes sharp. Ridge turned to her and took her hand. "No. I'm just saying, it's going to hit her hard." Taylor nodded, lips pursed. "RJ's not going to take it well either." Ridge sighed. "I'll talk to him." We'll get through it. We always do. But even as he spoke the words, his eyes betrayed the uncertainty he couldn't voice. Back at the cliff house, the standoff between Luna and Will had reached a fever pitch. You betrayed me, Luna snarled, gun shaking in her grip. You pretended to care. But this? This was just a game to you. It wasn't, Will insisted. Luna, listen to me. She screamed, shut up, and he flinched, his hands still raised. You don't get to talk. You don't get to fix this. Sirens wailed in the distance. The floor beneath them vibrated with approaching footsteps. They're coming, Luna said, voice soft now, almost childlike. I'm out of time. There's always time to make a better choice, Will said, stepping forward just slightly. Don't do something you can't take back. Her eyes filled again, tears spilling this time. You were the only one who saw me, she whispered. The only one. Then, her hand dropped just an inch. Enough for Baker's team to burst in through the back entrance, guns drawn, barking orders. Drop the weapon. Hands where we can see them. Luna froze. The gun trembled. And then, slowly, she bent her knees, sobbing, and placed it on the floor. Agents swarmed her. Will exhaled a breath he hadn't known he'd been holding as Luna collapsed to her knees. In the surveillance room, Steffi sighed against Finn, her body shaking with relief, while Elektra wiped tears from her cheeks. We got her, Baker said, though his voice was heavy, not triumphant. Later that night, Steffi stood on the cliff's edge, the wind tugging at her hair, staring out into the dark ocean below. Finn approached quietly, slipping an arm around her waist. It's over, he said. For now, she murmured. Until someone else comes along trying to destroy my life. Then we fight again, he said simply. She looked up at him. I hate this. I hate that I always have to be strong. I hate that people like Luna exist, that they hate me just for living my life. Finn kissed her forehead. You're not alone, Steffi. You never have to be. Meanwhile, across town, Brooke stood in her garden, the soft hum of night around her, thinking about Ridge. About Taylor. About how easily she'd been replaced. But then she remembered Nick, his touch, his words, the promise that maybe, just maybe, she didn't need Ridge to feel whole. And for the first time in a long while, she smiled, not because of a man, not because of a ring, but because she finally saw her worth.